With thanks to Draftstars, Australia's #1 daily fantasy platform for your NFL DFS. I'm Smatho. Here's Tom. We're back for week 11 of the NFL. Welcome back, Tom. How are you, bud?
Morning, Smatho. Yeah, doing really well, thanks.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. Apologies for the croaky kind of voice. I indulged in a couple of sherbets yesterday, and makes my voice a little bit more rougher today. So thanks for all the viewers who are watching the show today. We'll get through position by position of week 11 shortly. But as always, we want to reflect on week 10 of Draftstars NFL action. And as we check out last week's winner, which Davidian, 182.8 fantasy points was last week's winner. We talked about the show last week that we just had some great values at running back, and that chalk paid off, didn't it, Tom?
It did, yeah. It's obviously the value hit pretty hard, and then the players that we could pay up for didn't really hit at all. So it was a funny week with only 183 points to win. That's very unusual. Didn't really need your stacks to hit so much, like the Herbert Mike Williams stack here. That was pretty awful. Yeah. Probably the worst part of this lineup, but got there by having a few unique plays in Hunter Henry, for example. Even Diggs and Jefferson were pretty unique in Cowboys defense.
Yeah, look, those bottom three players, pretty much Henry, Fournette, and the Cowboys. You know, that pretty much climbed off everyone. I just want to quickly scroll down for a second there. Little 50-second there, little 160. Look at my little team there. I'll just show you my team before Kirk Cousins stack with Jefferson. I was cheering that on pretty hard, but AJ Green, 1 point, sunk me. All right. As we look at the ownership last week, so 65% to Johnson. Ingram was a little bit more riskier, but he ended up coming through at 43. Evans, Adams, Pitts, Patterson. Patterson got injured. Not okay. And then obviously Jonathan Taylor at 27.6. So looks like you just wanted all the running backs that you wanted.
Well, yeah, but there was another one in Ramondre Stevenson who went even better than those guys. I know you were talking him up a bit. I wasn't that keen on him. Didn't play any of him, actually. So, yeah, as it turned out, 3%, you didn't have to have him to win. But he was probably the best play on the slate, I think, in the end.
He was, yeah. So, but obviously with Johnson and Ingram at the same price, it didn't really work out. So, who else played? Yeah, Stephen Diggs, CD Lamb at only 11%. I think he was pretty much essential against Atlanta. And then AJ Dillon this week with no Aaron Jones. Look at that, 26.82. So, yeah, they were everywhere. And I'm just shocked that we only got 180 as the top score. But
weird week.
But for Davidian, well done to you. You held off the challenges there for a $2,665 first prize. Congratulations to you. All right, let's move on to obviously week 11 now. 12 games on this slate, 9 early and only 3 late, which is a bit disappointing. I would rather watch some more late action. 5 a.m. start, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, $30,000 prize pool. Let me bring up, first of all, the betting board for this week. How'd you go last week? Who did you have?
Yeah, I backed it up with the Vikings last week, and they got the job done against the Chargers.
Right.
So
they certainly did. We'll take that. This week, we've got a massive game right down the bottom there. Kansas City Chiefs, 56.5 versus the Cowboys of a low 2.5 there. The Bengals and the Raiders at 50.5 is also very good. Bills, 49.5 against the Colts, and then that kind of drops away from there. Maybe the Packers and the Vikings, and a good matchup there as well. So, what stands out for you in these slate of games?
Well, I'm finding it hard to look past the two higher total games. Obviously, Chiefs-Cowboys will be the standout game for everyone. A lot of good players in that game. And the Bengals-Raiders is the one I like a lot, especially with the 1-point spread. Pretty condensed kind of offenses. So I think there's a lot of goodness in that game. Yeah, there's a lot of bad stuff apart from that. Like you might pick out some individual players, but not many games to mention, I don't think.
I'll be shocked if the Detroit Lions and the Cleveland Browns get up to 40, because considering this wet, backup quarterback, Mayfield's not exactly a chucker. So yeah, I'll be shocked. That's my bet this week. The under, the 42.5 under. What's your bet this week?
That's strong. It is time to start considering weather. So yep, I like that one. I'm on the Saints over the Eagles. They're at 225. I'm just a little surprised that they're underdogs. They are missing Kamara, obviously, but yeah, I think the Eagles are a bit of a nothing team. So happy to take them on.
All right, excellent. All right. Now, injuries I've talked about already. Are a significant amount of injuries this week you'll need to monitor, and these include, we start with out first. Obviously, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara are your big running backs that are out. DeAndre Hopkins, Seal Jones, they're also out. Cooper. Now, Amari Cooper is on the COVID list, so make sure you do not roster him on your Draftstars lineups because currently he's still available in the Draftstars. We'll show you that very shortly. Marquise Brown was a late out today, so he's no longer there for the Ravens. A few on the doubtful list there. So Samuel, Zach Wilson, Jared Goff, Allen Robinson, Alan Lazard, and Eli Mitchell are all still doubtful. Questionable. Lamar Jackson is the key one here. He's been sick, practice, and got sick again. So he's back questionable. Kyler Murray is still questionable as well. Hill, McCoy. So a few quarterbacks there. Latavius Murray, Jamal Williams, Mooney, Peoples-Jones, and Dallas Goedert. So what's your initial thoughts with that injury news and how are you going to attack this particular slate?
Yeah, I'm a bit sad about Hollywood Brown being out because I wrote him up in the article. I was feeling quite good about that play. Obviously also, yeah, some doubt over Lamar Jackson. So that stack that I was keen on is almost out of play now. There's not a lot of significant stuff there, like AJ Dillon with Jones out, but he's been priced up. The main one from that is Mark Ingram is still minimum price again this week with Kamara out. So I guess he'll be the main one to consider stepping up into a bigger role. And then we'll see what happens with Amari Cooper out as well.
All right. Let's bring up the contest. Week 11, 30,000. 2.6K for first prize. And as always, position by position, we'll start here with quarterback. Now, we'll have to touch on Lamar Jackson. So obviously he's at 15,090. He's currently questionable with his illness. Seems to be an absolute great matchup against the Bears. But you'll have to get up at whatever time in the morning to find out if he's playing or not. So if he isn't, right, we've got his backup in Huntley, I think his name is Tyler Huntley. Right, he's at the 8,000, and he's kind of in the mold of Jackson. He's a bit of a rusher and a passer at the same time.
Yeah, he'll be a pretty strong play if Lamar is out, I'm assuming. I'm just not sure what his ceiling will be like. Obviously, we haven't seen much from him, so yeah, maybe consider him like a strong cash play if you want to differentiate elsewhere in your lineup. But you certainly don't have to play him.
No, but certainly you have to start considering about this Chiefs-Cowboys game at the 56-point total. It's easy to get to Mahomes or easy to get to Prescott, who's actually a little bit more expensive than Mahomes this week. You have to think about how many people are going to select him, though, either or.
Yeah, that's right. Especially Mahomes. Like, I can't believe that Dak is more expensive, and I think everyone will feel that way. The Chiefs came to life a little bit last week, finally, 39 points, Mahomes. So, yeah, quarterback ownership never gets ridiculously high, but, 25, 30% is enough to start thinking, maybe a look at going up to Josh Allen with bigger probably ceiling. Obviously not the same kind of matchup, but Josh Allen doesn't need that. He can pop whenever. So that's definitely something I'm looking at as a pivot.
So obviously those top three are in consideration. Then you got Jackson. Anyone below Jackson in this mid-tier range that you're quite keen on?
Yeah, the one I like the most is Joe Burrow, but not really because of his standalone. Like, I like that game, as I said, second highest total, close game. I feel like both teams are kind of trying to throw the ball more than run it at the moment, which is new for this year. So, yeah, I like that game, and I think Burrow can just benefit from the game environment and be a good part of a Bengals stack there.
Did you catch much of the Carolina Panthers game last week with Cam Newton back?
I honestly did not.
I was watching it thinking, oh God, he's min-pricey. Oh, he's going to run a touchdown here, and then the second time he touched the ball, oh, he's going to score another touchdown here. How rude of him! But he's at 12,300, and he has been picked to start. All right. Now, obviously, Draftstars kind of knew what was happening here, and obviously bumped his price up to 12,300 for like a little paltry little 11-point performance last week. So, do you see him getting more run, more snaps, and more potential in red zone kind of stuff?
I'm not sure, but I'm not overly keen on it. I saw a little bit of stuff that PJ Walker might still be involved. Like, as you said last week, he came out hot, ran in a touchdown, threw a touchdown straight away, and still only scored 12 points. So I just don't think, no matter how it plays out, there'll be enough volume there at that price. So yeah, I think it's kind of a dart throw at best.
I also like this week Derek Carr. If we're going to be having Burrow in that kind of game script there, 12,300. I think that's a great price for him. Sure, he doesn't have the receivers that he should have, but he still has Waller at tight end. I don't know, he's going to be a great player this week as well. Apart from that, maybe Carson Wentz, if they're going to try and keep up with Josh Allen, he'll probably be chucking it as well. Obviously, he wasn't really required last week, but he does have that 20-point floor at 11,000. I think that's a great price as well. Apart from that, no one really else sticks out there for anyone. Sticks out for you?
No, I think it's like much of a muchness. All kind of don't have the ceiling, but that's why they're not at the top of the price board. So if you want to bet against the chalky game, I think you can find a lot of stacks in that mid range.
Okay, running back. Let's talk about the value that's actually opened up in the last couple of days. The first one I want to talk about is obviously what's happening at Miami. Draftstars have kind of just given us a little cheapy Myles Gaskin this week at 8,860, but he is pretty consistent though.
Yeah, he is. He's getting the role. He's getting the volume. He's getting a bit of passing work. He's not doing a great deal with it, like not overly efficient with his touches, but Jets matchup is a good opportunity to get a bit more efficient, I think. So, this could be a good week to take advantage of that price tag.
Yeah, look, he's going to be projected for at least, I think, 12, 14 fantasy points. So he's going to pop in your crunches for you. Another team that is getting their running back is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's been activated off the injury reserve, so he's currently got a questionable tag, but the Chiefs said he's going to play $8,000, but he'll probably be sharing the role with Darrell Williams, though.
Yeah, I think all this does for me is make me not want to play either of them because if CEH didn't get back this week, I was definitely taking a look at Darrell Williams, but you'd have to imagine it's a big old timeshare.
Yeah, I mean the prices are good, but yeah, Williams last week was really, really good, but with Edwards back, it's going to be a bit hard to get both of them in. But that takes me up now to the top of the board, which is Christian McCaffrey. Our boy's finally back. We hadn't talked about him too much. This is fourth week up after his injury. Third week up. 26 last week. The price seems to be really reasonable at 17,620. He's ticking a lot of boxes here.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to ignore that price. Like I remember last year, or actually it was out last year, it must have been the year before, always up around 19, 20K. Pretty hard to justify that. But I mean, we just know that if he stays healthy, he's going back to those areas in the next few weeks. So yeah, just get in before we see it. Well, we saw it a bit last week, but there's better stuff coming. So it's time to start betting on him now, I think.
Now, last week we were all gaga over these running backs last week, but I'm not really feeling the same this week. Obviously, with Kamara out, you can get back into Ingram. Where is he? He's at 8,390. I'm not really in love with these guys up the top of the board. Obviously, Swift is always in play at 13,880, but I think the weather and the matchup is going to be a bit tough for him this week. AJ Dillon's there, but he's been priced up at 13,400. Good matchup against the Vikings. Elliott, I want to talk about Elliott. Obviously, a high game total, a lot of red zone work. Is he considering that you could do like a Mahomes stack and then bring it back with Elliott?
Yeah, I don't see a big problem with that. Personally, like he just hasn't hit that 30 plus score for a long time. So that worries me a bit, especially last week when he basically got to 20 points at halftime and then just did nothing. Obviously, they had a massive lead, so he didn't have to do anything. Yeah, he's in play. And I will say as well with AJ Dillon, he has been priced up where we have to think about it. But in his only solo game last year, I think he scored 30 odd points. So he can definitely get it done. Definitely one to keep in the pool.
Yep. Anyone else you been thinking about? Because my pool, when you'll see a little bit later, is pretty thin this week.
Yeah, like you said, the matchups at the top are all pretty tough. And I think Ingram is the standout value. Gaskin is pretty good. So, yeah, it could be a week just to definitely only play 2 running backs, I would say. There's not enough there to try and jam 3 in the lineup.
Yeah, I can see a lot of people going to McCaffrey and then try and jam in like a cheap second running back. I failed to mention what's happening at the 49ers as well. Eli Mitchell is doubtful, so if he doesn't suit up, there's not much left. They seem they don't want to play Trey Sermon, so I think it's all about Jeff Wilson. He's going to be there at $8,000 there. So if you're looking for a low percentage play at the min price, I think Wilson could be your man. Wide receiver is next, and stacks, Chief stacks, Cowboy stacks. Now, I want to highlight what's happening at the Cowboys first because, as I mentioned, Amari Cooper is out. Don't play Amari Cooper. He's got COVID. So that leaves CD Lamb at 14,120, and then Gallup's at a great price there at 7,700, and Cedric Wilson's also there at the min at 6,000. So, is it just all about CD Lamb, or you reckon I might get some more Gallup than anything?
Yeah, I would be leaning towards Gallup. I did watch a lot of their game last week, and they did try to get him involved a bit, especially kind of in the red zone a couple of times I saw. So, yeah, his role will only be bigger this week. He'll only be more match fit. I think he'll be, pretty tasty play.
Excellent. Obviously, with the Chiefs as well, Tyreek Hill's at that price where, look, it is 16,000, but I think Tyreek Hill can actually win you the slate than anything. But the other receivers for the Chiefs are not really getting it done, though.
Yeah, I don't even think about the other guys. Just decide each week if you want to play Tyreek and Kelsey, and apart from that, I wouldn't worry about them.
Yeah, all right. Now, other teams I want to have a look at. The Titans, obviously against the Texans. So obviously this is going to be a game that hopefully the Titans can get a hold of. AJ Brown's at 15,110. No Julio Jones. He's on injury reserve. So pretty much he's the main man there. Is that a bit too pricey for that particular matchup? Well, this could be a good low ownership play.
Will it be low ownership? I'm not sure because the Texans match up. I guess like Tyreek Hill will draw some attention away from him. But yeah, I mean, we have to consider him because he's all they've got. So, and the Texans probably aren't going to do a great job slowing him down. So, yeah, I'm just not sure if I'm feeling the 30-plus week that we've seen a couple of times recently. So I'll be cautious with him.
Okay, cautious there. The matchups that you like as well, let's talk about the Bengals. They've got Jamar Chase at 13,660, Higgins at 11,580. Chase has been pretty flat the last couple of weeks. Obviously, the losses don't help. Higgins is more your floor consistent player there. So do you prefer one over the other?
Yeah, I prefer Chase. Yeah, for the ceiling, and like it seems pretty obvious that he is AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, just as a rookie. So his price is only going up. Yeah, we have to put up with some down weeks while he figures things out and they establish a role. But those big weeks are well worth having a shot at him for.
Yep. The next team I want to have a quick look at is obviously the Ravens with no Marquise Brown. He's out. So that leaves Rashad Bateman at 9,200 and Sammy Watkins at the min price. If Jackson gets up, you certainly have a couple of these combos, won't you?
I will. Probably not Watkins. From what I saw and read about him last week, he is behind Duvernay and Boykin and some of the others. But Bateman for sure. Like I think he might be the next best thing to Jamar Chase as a rookie. We just haven't seen it yet because of injuries and working his way back. So yeah, another player that I'm happy to go on early, especially with Brown out.
Excellent. Now also, I don't think there's any other news kicking around with other teams. For my Wentz play, Pittman at 10,900 seems to be a good price. Seems to be getting it done. Hopefully he needs to chase there. 49ers, Deebo Samuel. You liked him this week on DFR. 13,250 seems to be a bit of a good price.
Yeah, I thought I mounted a decent case there where he's we look at his box score. His box score would have to be the best wide receiver box score of the year so far. So obviously the situation there where he's clearly the alpha, even now Kittle's back, and the good matchup with the Jaguars. I think that's a pretty disrespectful price. I think I said in the article I'd probably play him first and then think about whether you want to put Tyreek Hill or AJ Brown on top of him instead of the other way around.
Fair enough. All right. So you're the Debo train. Excellent. Any other cheapies or any ones that you want to let the viewers know about before we move on?
Nothing off the top of my head down the bottom. But yeah, probably haven't had a close enough look just yet. Fair
enough. All right. Tight end then. We get our tight ends back. We didn't have them last week, and that was kind of fun trying to find one out of the haystack. But this week, Kelsey's back. Kittle, Waller, and even you can throw in Mark Andrews there at 11,350. If you have the cash, will you be spending up at tight end?
I'm not sure about Kelsey or Kittle, really. I think his price has gotten to the point where I'm not really keen to chase him. Waller is one that I'm definitely considering as a bring back in that Bengals Raiders game that we like. And I mean, it's going to be hard for people to click on his name with the recent run of scores. So kind of a contrarian option if you want to pay up a little bit there at tight end.
Excellent. Any below 10,000 to around 6,000 here that stands out?
Yeah, it's one of those typical weeks where I don't know how to pick one out of that group. I think if you want to play the Cowboys-Chiefs game, maybe Schultz is a bit of a unique way to do it. Maybe he picks up a bit of the Amari Cooper slack. He's already shown a couple of times that he can get there this season. So just ignore a couple of bad scores recently and bet on him coming good this week, I think.
Yeah, no, I like Schultz there, especially with Cooper out. One a little bit cheap that seems to get a bit of buzz around the industry at the moment is the Chicago tight end. His name's Komet. I think his name is Cole Komet. 6,790. 6 catches last week for 87 yards. So obviously no TDs there, but seems to be getting some fields love there. So if you're looking for a cheapie there, 6,790, it's worth a shot. Yeah, I'm liking the top end of town in this lot this week. All right, let's move on to obviously our favourite position, the defense and special teams. Draftstars knows how to pick the good ones. They're all above there at 7,000. The one I like, the Panthers, Browns, I like in that weather matchup there. Even the Titans, I know they're playing the Texans there, but they're easy to pick. But so anyone under 7,000 you like?
I wrote up the Cardinals.
Yes.
Like might be a strong word. I had to choose someone. We saw the Packers against Seattle in Russell Wilson's comeback game last week, score 17 points. That doesn't really mean anything, but maybe Wilson's still struggling a bit with his finger. So, and the Cardinals have been pretty decent this year defensively, so that could be one.
There's nothing really down here. Cowboys at the min. Maybe they get a pick 6 or the Chiefs. But the Chiefs secondary is pretty bad. No, I think I'll just try and make some money to get even to the Panthers, the Browns, even the Cardinals. I might play your Cardinals since you're all over them with a theory, with a massive theory. All right, you're confident. All right, so there we go. That's position by position. Now let's have a check out the other player pool for this week. All right, this week's player pool. All right, pretty easy for the quarterback. Mahomes and Prescott will get a lot of ownership, but yeah. Burrow, Wentz, and Carr. Hopefully, Burrow and Carr might have a little shootout themselves. Running back is McCaffrey, Swift, Gaskin. I have put in Edwards-Helaire for now. Wilson for the 49ers and Ingram for the Saints. A few wide receivers include Hill, Lamb, Chase, Higgins, Pittman, Bateman, Renfro. If you're doing some Vegas stacks, AJ Brown, Debo, and Cole Beasley. If you want to get into some Bills, over the page, Schultz, Waller, Kelsey, and Komet are my tight ends, and the Cardinals, Browns, and the Panthers. All right, Tom. Nice little compact show this week. Any final thoughts before we get stuck into week 11 tonight?
Well, I just want to get ahead and say you've put me on to Jeff Wilson in a big way. I've got the feeling he's going to be this week's Ramondre. So if everyone could just keep him at 3%, that'd be lovely.
Yes, please. Yep. That'd be great. Don't go too over the top there. Now, next week, I think we've got Thanksgiving's next week, so we're going to have a little smaller slate on our hands for week 12, and we're going to have some goodness on Friday morning. It's Thursday in the States, isn't it? So make sure you get to dailyfantasyrankings.com.au for both myself and Tom's previews for the NFL throughout the season. Give us a like on the way out, as you do. And we'll catch you next week. Tom, thanks very much.
Thanks, Smatho. Have a couple of Baroccas and enjoy your Sunday.
Yes, slick time. Catch you later.
See ya.